Hey, welcome back. You're watching Liquid Lunch on Newsmax TV. It's the moment you've all been waiting for. After Nancy Pelosi forced many of her members to get on board with this impeachment hoax. The articles of impeachment were then voted on, and they were held up for a couple of weeks. Now they've been transmitted to the Senate, and now the Senate has started the trial, finally. As we speak, Adam Schiff, for brains, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, which continues to baffle me how a guy with zero intelligence can be the chairman of the Intelligence Committee. But he's speaking down at the Senate, and let's go in live and see what's happening at the Senate with the kickoff of the Trump impeachment trial.
Would not impose a burden. The subpoenas cover narrowly tailored and targeted documents and witnesses that the president has concealed. The Senate deserves to see the documents from the White House, the State Department, the Office of Management and Budget, the Department of Defense. These agencies already should have collected and at least preserved these documents in response to House subpoenas. Indeed, in some cases, agencies have already produced.
The bluster of wanting these witnesses to testify is over, notwithstanding the fact that he has never asserted a claim of privilege during the course of the House impeachment proceedings. He threatens to invoke one now in a last-ditch effort to keep the rest of the truth from coming out. The president sends his lawyers here to breathlessly claim that these witnesses or others cannot possibly testify because it involves national security. Never mind that it was the president's actions in withholding military aid from an ally at war that threatened our national security in the first place. Never mind that the most impeachable, serious offenses will always involve national security because they will involve other nations, and that misconduct based on foreign entanglement was what the framers feared most. The president's absurdist argument amounts to this: we must endanger national security to protect national security. We must make a president's conduct threatening our security beyond the reach of impeachment power if we are to save the presidency. This is dangerous nonsense. As justices of the Supreme Court have underscored, the Constitution is not a suicide pact. But let us turn from the abstract to the very concrete, and let me show you just one example of what the president is hiding in the name of national security. There is a document which the president has refused to turn over, in which his top diplomat in Ukraine says to two other appointees of the president, "As I said on the phone, I think it's crazy to withhold security assistance for help with a political campaign." The administration refuses to turn over that document and so many more. We only know about its existence. We have only seen its contents because it was turned over by a cooperating witness. This is what the president would hide from you and from the American people. In the name of national security, he would hide graphic evidence of his dangerous misconduct. The only question is, and it is the question raised by this resolution, will you let him? Last year, President Trump said that Article 2 of the Constitution will allow him to do anything he wanted. And evidently believing that Article 2 empowered him to denigrate and defy a co-equal branch of government, he also declared that he will fight all subpoenas. Let's hear the president's own words.
Then I have an Article 2 where I have the right to do whatever I want as president.
Well, we're fighting all the subpoenas.
True to his pledge to obstruct Congress, when President Trump faced an impeachment inquiry in the House of Representatives, he ordered the executive branch to defy every single request on every single subpoena. He issued this order through his White House counsel, Pat Cipollone, on October 8, the same counsel that stood before you a moment ago to defend the president's misconduct. He then affirmed it again at a rally on October 10. Following President Trump's categorical order, we never received key documents and communications. It is important to note, in refusing to respond to Congress, the president did not make any formal claim of privilege ever. Instead, Mr. Cipollone's letter stated, in effect, that the president would withhold all evidence in the executive branch unless the House surrendered to demands that would effectively place President Trump in charge of the inquiry into his own misconduct. Needless to say, that was a non-starter and designed to be so. The president was determined to obstruct Congress no matter what we did. And his conduct since, his attacks on the impeachment inquiry, his attacks on witnesses, have affirmed that the president never had any intention to cooperate under any circumstance. And why? Because the evidence and testimony he conceals would only further prove his guilt. The innocent do not act this way. Simply stated, this trial should not reward the president's obstruction by allowing him to control what evidence is seen and when it is seen and what evidence will remain hidden. The documents the president seeks to conceal include White House records, including records about the president's unlawful hold on military aid, State Department records, including text messages and WhatsApp messages exchanged by the State Department and Ukrainian officials, and notes to file written by career professionals as they saw the president's scheme unfold in real time. OMB records demonstrating efforts to fabricate an after-the-fact rationale for the president's orders and showing internal objections that the president's orders violated the law. Defense Department records reflecting bafflement and alarm that the president suspended military aid to a key security partner without explanation. Many of the president's aides have also followed his orders and refused to testify. These include central figures in the impeachment inquiry, including White House Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney, former National Security Advisor John Bolton, and many others with relevant testimony, like Robert Blair and Michael Duffy. Mr. Blair, who serves as a senior advisor to Acting Chief of Staff Mulvaney, worked directly with Mr. Duffy, a political appointee in the Office of Management and Budget, to carry out the president's order to freeze vital military and security assistance to you.
Hey, welcome back. That's Adam Schiff giving the opening argument. We're going to be covering this for you all week, all month. It's a big day for us at Liquid Lunch. The trial kicks off during our show, the first day ever. One of the things I heard him say in there is the Senate deserves to hear from witnesses and see documents that weren't available in the House hearings. Guess what, Adam Schiff? You were in control of the House hearings. You had every ability to go to the court and get more things included. You didn't. So don't go and lie to the American people on their behalf. Frankie, any final thoughts?
Well, it's interesting that Mitch McConnell's made some rules changes. We'll tell you about them tomorrow.
All right. Tomorrow, tune in at noon. More Liquid Lunch. Same bat time, same bat channel.